fixed number of tokens, what about this one? Is it a good thing or a bad thing? Good. Why it's good?
Because it's like a reliable number.
Okay, it's reliable, so you know that your asset grow if the project is successful, right?
Not necessarily, because I think that the market price does not necessarily depend on a fixed number. But I think it's just for the reliability that you have already the exact mathematics well known in advance.
Well, I can also have exact mathematics for non-fixed number of tokens. But it's reliable because you know that if demand is increasing, then at some point the value must increase as well. That's what it guarantees. No, must. If the demand is increasing, the number of tokens is finally fixed, then at some point demand will outgrow and the rate of tokens must increase. That's why it's reliable. That's true. So great. So it's reliable. Well, I don't like saying reliable. It's profitable. Thank you. Now for early adopters. Now, what are the bad things of fixed number of tokens? So the biggest issue with it is that it generates very high volatility. So if you have a fixed number of tokens at each time, and that's up to a good approximation, the releasing of tokens now is completely negligible with respect to the existing volume. So at each point in time, roughly you have a fixed number of tokens, and then fluctuations of demand, so the supply is roughly fixed, then fluctuation of demand immediately translate to fluctuation in the rate of token. So this is the good thing, and the bad thing is that it generates very high volatility. And this is one of the biggest problems of Bitcoin, volatility. And I think it's also probably the biggest barrier for adoption.
Is it another problem that Bitcoin's are not in circulation, that they're also stationary in the system?
Well,
there's no really saved out or whatever.
I think maybe there is also some relation to that, but just even the fact that you have a fixed number of tokens.
But I meant it as an additional problem.
Oh, additional problem that most of the tokens are held aside, are not participating.
Yeah.
I think
being circulated on the normal market.
I think that's a direct result of any deflationary economy. And I think if you are defining yourself as wishing a deflationary economy is an unavoidable result, and by itself I don't think it's bad. I think it's bad with some circumstances and can be good in some other circumstances. Yeah. And I will try to describe the good version. Okay, so high volatility. There's another problem. So you are also releasing at each time step, you're releasing out finite number of tokens, right? So 25 bitcoins every 10 minutes, correct? So here I said you're not directly rewarding any contribution, but let's say you did. You'd have some mechanism to directly rewarding any contribution. But now, every 10 minutes you're releasing 25 bitcoins. And at a specific time, it has a specific rate. So 25 bitcoin equals something, okay? This something is the reward that you're putting out into the community. And by the free market laws, this will be the volume of contribution which people will put in. But what if people wanted to put, orders of magnitude more contribution and to adopt it much faster? It won't. It will simply limit the amount of contribution that will be attended by the community. Okay? So it limits reward and thus limits contribution. Okay? So these are serious problems for adoption, and I think we just experienced that. We experienced the adoption problem of Bitcoin. Maybe it will succeed, maybe it won't. Nobody knows, but definitely there is a serious problem of adoption. Okay, any question about that part? Yeah.
I don't agree with this last statement.
Yeah.
Because a lot of bitcoins which are released, the communities are the same, but you can divide it up to 8 digit.
No, but it's specific. There are two numbers here. One number is the number of bitcoins who are released every 10 minutes. That's one number. And another number is the number of bitcoins who are out there. The second number is what's dictating the rate of the token. Okay? And the first is what dictating, this is much smaller than that, it's completely negligible. Okay, the change is completely negligible. So this, the big stock, this what dictates the rate of token, and this only what dictates the rate of the volume of reward of the given time step. Okay?
But I don't see this as a burden of production, to be honest.
Well, it is, but we're just not familiar with any other option. But it is because let's say, well, it's by definition. It limits the amount, the volume of reward, and that's the volume of contribution that people will make in that. Just that. So, for example, I'll tell you why you're not worried about that. I'll tell you why. Because in Bitcoin, it's because of the first problem. Since in any case, the only thing that is rewarded is miners, and it's indeed limiting the volume of miners. For the first time in the Bitcoin history, the miner volume has decreased for the first time. So it just shows you that it will just reach the boundary. Okay? But you're not worried about that because the boundary is big enough. Right? Because we have enough miners. That's not the problem. We have enough security. Okay? But what if now we will also reward coding and development and design? Then this will be a barrier. This will be a fixed volume of contributions, which you can grow much further. Okay?
Another question. The number of bitcoins that is being created within a certain time frame, is that a fixed number, or I have a problem to understand it?
Yeah, it changes. It's decreasing with time.
What factors influence the number of bitcoins that are being born or created?
So there's a predefined formula. It changes with time, but very, very slowly. Every 4 years, it halves every 4 years, roughly. But not continuously. Like after 4 years, well, it halves.
So it's not dependent on the number of miners?
No.
Processor speed or whatever?
No, so for the first 4 years, it was 50. Now it's 25. In 4 years, it will be 12. And that's why by the way, the resummation is finite. This series is fine. Okay? More questions? Okay, so let me tell you about the full model of decentralized organization, which I would like to cure those problems, all of them at once. Okay?
Maybe you can write bigger.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so what is decentralized autonomous organization? I think that it's not a good name. If you have better names, we should start looking for them.
It sounds very zen.
DAO, I like the word DAO. I like it, it's very zen. But I don't like this centralized autonomous organization. It sounds like very technocratic, technical, and it's also not reflecting also all aspects. Not reflecting all important aspects. For example, the fact that you're incentivizing people to participate is not reflected in any of those words. But I think it's most important.
Can't you call it ant?
And what?
The little animals. Ant.
Ant?
Ant organization.
Oh, ant.
Yeah, that was the ant.
Yeah. Maybe. Yeah. Ant would be
Ants are like decentralized.
Yeah, that's a good direction, I think. Okay, so DAO, what is a DAO? So as I said before, I think it's the following thing. It's a peer-to-peer organization. It has inner economy, inner token. I'm saying claiming any good contribution should be rewarded. Any sort of contribution which is evaluated by the community, by the network itself, should be rewarded. And all action are free. Anyone can do whatever he or she wants to contribute. Okay? So that will be the definition for decentralized organization for me.
But can you redefine what sort of contributions will be rewarded in what steps?
So I'm saying, no, so I would like to take the position that any contribution which is evaluated by the community should be rewarded.
Okay.
So that's, of course, that's a good question what you're asking. Now you're asking, but how you're going to evaluate a priori all kinds of contributions?
Yeah.
So I'll tell you about that.
Well, first of all, you have to define what is a contribution.
Right. So,
Secondly,
exactly. So I will tell you about that. Okay. I mean, it's supposed to become later. I will just speak until I'm just saying that I will just speak until the people will stop me. But I'm just saying that if I'm not getting there, do ask me. I'm claiming the following things. There are three pillars to enable decentralized organization to live, okay, to exist. So first pillar is technology, and here I will focus on the blockchain technology. Blockchain technology. Okay. And the second pillar is protocols or models. Protocols. And the third pillar is what I call platform. Let me describe each of them. Okay? So the decentralized organization is by definition is a peer-to-peer organization, which means that and it carries value, which means we need to agree about the distribution of value. If we need to agree about it, we need to have a mechanism for a distributed database, for distributed consensus. That is the blockchain, right? So we have, by definition, we have to have something, a blockchain or alike. Okay. So here I would like to add, now I'd like to give you a scheme for the most general decentralized organization. So which means we need to be able to have any sort of blockchain. I mean, consensus for any sort of smart contract, any sort of rules, and so on. So this should be what I call programmable blockchain. Okay? That's important.
You mean for programmable in like Ethereum?
Just like Ethereum or any other similar project that is there out there. But yeah, it should be something like Ethereum that is giving you the full spectrum of options, not the financial options, of possibilities to make rules, to materialize the rules of the game. Yeah.
To what extent would it be possible to create a sort of visual, graphical user interface so people can very easily create sort of business logic?
Just giving the next slide.
Okay.
Thank you. Perfect. But okay. So again, I will just. It's here. What you're asking is just that's the answer.
Okay.
And I will tell now a few words, and I meant to expose the full thing at the end. And if you don't get there, please ask me. Okay. So the second thing is the rules of the game. I mean, okay, we have a token, we have a mechanism for consensus, but we need to have a distribution protocol. So there are two kinds of rules, protocols we need to have. One is how we decide, as an organization, as a network, how do we decide about how much tokens to issue for each contribution, okay? That's first kind of decision we need to take ongoingly. In the second decision, we need to decide about the rules of the game, about the first, okay? So we can decide to change the protocol. We can start with one protocol, and we can then decide to change the protocol. Okay, so these are two kind of decisions we need to ongoingly take as a community. So these are the protocols. And the third thing is just referring to what you were saying before. So let's say now we have millions of people who want to interact and to synchronize their action. And we have the machinery to do that by the blockchain technology. And we also have the rules of the game of this interaction. But how we practically do that? I mean, how do we communicate and agree and chat and feedback and see everything and generate those kind of organizations and so on? So we need to have some platform, which is, we call it decentralized collaborative platform. It's a generalization. For example, there are all sorts of platforms for community management, for example, and so on. So it's kind of a generalization of that, but it's much bigger than that, and I will try to later describe you what this platform is. But it's basically, it's where you build DAOs. It's basically the WordPress of DAOs. Okay? It's a framework like WordPress for websites, the platform for DAOs. Okay? And I'll get there later, but the idea is that when these three are ready, you can just enter the platform, okay, and open a decentralized organization just as easy as now then you are entering Facebook and open a Facebook group, okay? And just let it grow by itself, and after maybe 1 month, there are 30,000 contributors, and we are just achieving whatever we want in few weeks, okay? That's the vision. Okay, so now, in the rest of the talk, what I meant to do is to tell you about the protocols, okay? More into details. And then some more details about the platform. And of course, nothing to be said here. This is the only thing here we are not touching, because there's already a very good, very excellent group of people who are working with that, and that should be coming live in a couple of months or so. Right? Okay? Yeah. Let's start with protocol. Yeah, any question?
Maybe we can change the slide.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, just that. Okay. So I said before, so now we go back to the slide. I will soon. I said before, Bitcoin is roughly fixed amount of token. It's released gradually, but in terms of economy, it's at any instant it's fixed, approximately fixed amount of tokens. And we said one of the problems that it generates high volatility, right? So how do we cure that? So that's just an alternative for that. Let's generate a new economy which has pegged tokens. What does it mean? Let's peg the rate of our tokens, for example the Zeus tokens, to some external value which we know that is very stable. Okay? For example, and also if we want to keep the purchase power of the Zeus tokens, let's peg it to an external value which is related to this purchase power. For example, the price of oil or any other energy index. Okay? So let's peg, just for the practice now, let's peg, for the simple language, let's peg now the Zeus token to $1, $1 US, what is relatively stable, so we are happy about it. Okay? Now I completely banished volatility, no volatility. Okay? How do we achieve full pegging? So that's very easy. Every time that someone is sending me into the system $1, me, when I say me, I mean not me, Matan, or not even any developer, me, the community, the network itself. Okay? Automatically, it's all set automatically by smart contracts. So whenever $1 is sent to the system, it enters the fund. Okay? It enters the fund, a wallet, a community wallet. A new Zeus token is being born, issued, and sent back to the purchaser. Okay? On the other side, whenever this purchaser wants to cash out his money, he's sending back his one Zeus token, and I'm taking from the fund. I keep this in dollars, and I'm sending out the dollar. Maybe I take a small commission for my work of keeping the tokens. Okay? So that's called full peg protocol. That's what we. That's a simple action. Yeah.
Sorry. So on the right side you have the US needs to bank account.
You're asking how practically I do this at the bank account?
So you have $1, I want to send $1 to the community. So there must be some central holder.
Thank you. So and unless I would think I will answer that. I'm just saying that this is more about the theory, but this is in practice. This is a good question. The way to do that, there are two ways. Either you have a something, well, three which are actually two. So either you have some crypto token, which is just like US dollar. That's then I can code it into a smart contract. But then you ask, okay, but then how is this token is $1, and it will be the same as it's pegged to, it will be looped, like how it's pegged to $1. So the two possible action is one is making this. So there is a way to. So one is to make it, to make a way, which maybe just Shai told me yesterday that he heard about a company that organization that does that. But maybe there is a decentralized way to keep this fund. Okay, that's one way, but we haven't yet had this scheme. Another way is that the community as a whole is outsourcing this operation to some federated external, centralized companies. For example, a company, and the company has agreement with the community, it holds for it, it's just giving service, it holds for it the bank account and everything, and by agreement it's bound to give it back whenever, by the protocol, okay? So that's like in the solution. That's what we do today in the ZOS. Okay. But okay, so that's the good thing. No volatility. Great. No volatility. But what have we done? What is the problem? Two problems. So yeah.
Sorry, but how can you not guarantee there's no volatility?
Well, there is no volatility with respect to the dollar. With respect to the anchor that you chose, there is zero volatility. It always equals the ZUS just dollar. That's it.
The disadvantage is that early adopters don't learn more.
Exactly.
But also, if you don't, you are not interesting for speculators.
Which is the same thing.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm happy about that. I don't want speculants.
Yeah,
I want speculants out of my game, by the way.
I also think it can have advantages.
Speculation is just a friction in the economy. I mean, if there is advantage of speculants where there is room for speculation, they close the arbitrage, they make the work. But if you can make economic system with no arbitrage, no speculations, no room for speculations, then there would be a smoother economy. Okay? No friction, more working force.
I don't think it's a just system, because on the one hand there are services that are being rendered, for example, in the taxi version of your currency. So people are actually getting service in order to take these tokens, pay the person who provides the service. They have to cash out fiat money, dollars, euros, or shekels to buy these tokens. And you have a flexible system, like you explained. In the system, and of course, because you have a digital currency, you can then pay developers, people who provide services, game management, promotion, advertising, etc., from the small commission that is included in
Right.
the token price.
Right, so what you're saying now is very good. It's actually, I will now tell you what is the second problem, and what you're saying now is roughly the answer to the second problem.
Yeah, I'm just summarizing a little
Yeah.
bit.
I will make it more precise.
In
So,
language, yeah.
so I'll make it more precise. Yes.
Because you pay it to the dollar, and you say that there's no volatility, but the dollar is a centralized system,
Right.
and it can be very expensive.
No, I agree. I'm just saying there is no volatility with respect to the anchor that you have chosen. You can choose instead of dollar, you can choose 1 liter of oil. You choose the cost of living, the average cost of living in the